What's up, everyone? This is Tatum. I'm back with a new episode of my series that I like to call Not a Classic. And what that means is I wanted to create a show that I feel like, and this is my first one in a minute, but I feel like there's a lot of quote unquote classic albums that aren't really classic and withstood the test of time, right? So I wanted to create a show where uh, I want to bring guests on here and everything, but I wanted to make a show where people could talk about some of those albums they feel just weren't classic, right? So today I'm doing this dolo. I thought this was a great album to bring back this show. Drake's Take Care. We just passed his 10th anniversary, and after 10 years and the hoopla, rather Drake has a classic or not, of this is his only classic, I think it was time to bring it to the table and let's just debate. And so you can leave your thoughts in the comments and let me know. But let's get it started. It's kind of crazy that Take Care is actually 10 years old. That album's been out for so long. I think Take Care was a pivotal moment in Drake's discography. I think that his first album wasn't on par with what we expected from him for a debut artist, and all the weight that he had on him and the pressure. I think Thank Me Later missed the mark, and I think he realized that as well when he went back to create his sophomore album. And you can hear, I remember him having interviews where he was saying like he just went home and you know crafted a sound, him at 40, and this sound is the one that kind of is the Drake sound that we even get to this day. And I think also that this is the last Drake album that, how can I put it? I feel like it was the last Drake album that it was happy Drake. I think after this we get all like revengeful Drake, and it just it's just not as fun and underdogish. Because after this he's the top dog. We get introduced to Weeknd on this album as well, and I think his sound, believe it or not, I know a lot of people debate over this. It was the sound in this album. I feel like without that Weeknd influence, I don't know what Take Care would sound like. So we start with Over My Dead Body, which I think is probably my favorite Drake intro. It's maybe an unpopular opinion, but I feel like that's the best Drake intro. I think just everything he was talking about in there, and just coming off his debut album, and that the second one is always for hip hop artists. I feel, especially ones who are we invest a lot into. That sophomore jinxes, it means a lot. Rappers don't get the advantage of how rock artists used to be back in the day, or how they could be on their 11th album or 5th album, and that's the one that's the classic. I think hip hop's lifespan is obviously shorter, so if you don't hit after the second one, you could be out of here. It's rare air for most artists to even get to 3 albums. We're going to take a shot for me, and that's clearly the Weeknd. That's a great Weeknd record. Listen back to it after, because I don't listen to this album that often. I take the pieces that I like from it, and live with that. But going back and listening to it today to get prepared for the show and listening to Take a Shot for Me, I said, oh, this is just a Weeknd record. Like, it's clearly just a Weeknd record, and I'd rather just hear the Weeknd sing it. To be truthfully honest with you. Headlines, I feel like Headlines is, it's funny. I was having a conversation with my one of my friends the other day, and I was telling her how we were discussing how Drake has so many hits that these hits like this don't even matter. Like, he don't even have to perform these. He don't have to do Best I Ever Had. And Headlines, the Best I Ever Had, would be like gigantic hits for any other artist, and they will have to continue to play those. Drake doesn't even probably touch those records. Headlines to me sounds like Over Part 2. Even he mentions like, if they don't get it, they'll be over you. It gave me that feel. It was back in the day when you had when rappers used to release the street song and the commercial song. They don't really do that as much now, but Drake is still from the breed of the older rappers, so the 50 Cents, the Jay-Z's, and things of that nature, the Kanye. So it was that street single and the commercial single. To me, I don't think that song aged well. I don't think it aged well at all. It's catchy, but I don't think it aged well. Crew Love, Jesus, I remember hearing that for the first time and was like, what the fuck is this? Dum 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 dum. Like, that intro is just like, oh shit, this is different. And then you hear Weeknd. For me, the first time I'm hearing Weeknd, and I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he sounds amazing. The pockets that he finds and stuff that he's saying is a little bit different from what we're used to in the moment. And that shit was just, Crew Love is just something that's forever classic. Top 3 on the record. It's just, to this day, is timeless. We get Take Care with Rihanna, and listening back to it recently, it just sounds like a Kanye bite. It sounds like still a great song, but definitely a Kanye bite. It sounds like Lost in the World. Like they listened to Lost in the World and was like, how can we make this? Like they even had the Gil Scott Heron sample in there. Like with those drums, it's clearly a bite. Or what does Wayne say? Some call it biting or reciting because you like it, or some shit like he said on Dr. Carter. But we go into Marvin's Room and Buried Alive. And I remember back in the day, it's not really like that anymore, but I think those were the same. They were on the same song, like when it first came out, and not 2 separate records. Listening to Marvin's Room, I don't know if I like this song. Like after all said and done, now it's okay. I remember when it first came out, I was psyched over it, but now listening back to it, I'm like, it's cool. I think it's a classic Drake record just for the audacity to say that, of him actually saying, I'm just saying you could do better calling a girl and all. It's weird. It's some sim stuff. But going to Buried Alive, it's good. It was great to hear like young Kendrick and hearing hungry Kendrick. And he's such a great storyteller. He paints the whole story about going to Toronto and meeting with Drake and 40 pulling up with the Jeep, no doors. Only thing the nigga missing was Aaliyah. Or how he found out that Drake was the same age as him and it made him even more rude and impatient. So it was like, it was crazy to see that. And I know we get fucking problems, but it's crazy we only got like 3 records with Drake and Kendrick on it. I always thought that was weird too. Like, I get it's supposed to be some type of back and forth with that, but it's kind of weird that we only got 3 and they're weird records. Like this record, Drake's not even on it. It's like Kendrick has his own standalone record on the album. Underground Kings, classic. Classic. Everything about that. Well, me and my niggas was all about this rapper from New Orleans singing "Walking Like a Man," finger on the trigger, got money in my pocket. I'm a uptown nigga. Fame on my mind, my girl on my nerves. Ooh, that's the best line. We'll Be Fine. I love how he had Birdman talking on it, and it was like a continuation because I think he did another one on Nothing Was the Same with Birdman's talking on it. I wish he continued that throughout his old albums, just have Birdman pop his shit, because Birdman. Like even in the Cash Money days and when Lil Wayne was in the Carter series and mixtapes, Birdman would pop his shit on the records, and it just sounds great. Like it makes it classic. Make Me Proud with Nicki, and I think Nicki bodies Drake on every song that she's on with him. Besides Seeing Green, back then Nicki was bodying Drake on every song they was on. It was just good to hear that camaraderie again between Drake and Nicki. I know they do records now, but I feel like the records they do now seem kind of forced compared to records like these. That's just me though. Lord Knows, hands down, probably the greatest record on this album. That Just Blaze beat, Drake going off, popping his shit. Even though he begins it weirdly when he says, checking her phone when she go to the restroom. I don't trust these hoes at all. Weird. Just weird. But the rest of the verse is fucking fire. That beginning part throws me off even to this day. Ross comes in there with a short verse, but it's impactful. Rose and Drake. Like it's just, I love their collaborations. I don't think Ross and Drake really miss. This is probably my favorite Ross and Drake record, and that'll probably never change. I think this was the start of it all. Going to Cameras, that song is just a classic as well. The thing about this album that makes it really, that I'm debating why it's a classic, because it does have a lot of classic moments on it. There's certain records on here that I'm not sure if it's nostalgic or just like the moment in time that I was in when these records came out. But when I hear Cameras, when I hear Lord Knows, when I hear Underground Kings, or even the Kendrick record, it's like, oh shit, these are some great moments. I feel like Drake's been trying to remake Camera for his entire career. It's like every song of Drake that sounds like that, it's a pull from Cameras to me. Now, this is where this album hits a rough patch for me. Because after that, obviously we 12 songs in, and that's enough for an album right there. But then we go into Doing It Wrong, which I don't care for at all. The Real Her, and I really just skip the Andre's verse on there every time, because I don't really like that beat on there. It's weird. At some points in Drake's music, the really slow, somber, sad records, they just not for me. I don't really like hearing Drake sing like that, especially when it's in a whiny kind of way. And back then, his vocals, I'm not saying he's the greatest singer now, but back then his vocals were, look what you done. Hell yeah, fucking right. Classic. Practice. I think we can help with that record too. Yeah, absolutely. Practice and the ride. And we can help with good ones go. When people sit there and lie and say that, because I've been in conversation with people online and things of that nature who say that, we can only contribute to 4 or 5 songs, that those 5, 6 songs meant a lot. Like those 5 or 6 songs shaped the album. Like it was a new sound. Without those 5 or 6 songs that Weeknd contributed to, it would just be another Drake album. It'll be the same album from his first album. You get the Nicki record, you get the intro, you get the headlines that's over, you get some of the same sounds. I think the sounds that took this Drake into the next stratosphere and sound wise was the Weeknd. And I'll down that hill. So we get the ride and we go into the motto, which is classic, and we get Hate Sleeping Alone, which I'll probably never listen to. So it is a great album. Like, I can't even hold you. It's still a great album. Before I give my verdict, let me get into some of my best songs. Lord Knows, Cameras, and Crew Love. Worst song on here, Headlines. Headline's the worst song on here. Best line, I'm more concerned with niggas who think about Christmas in August, do anything to buy gifts for their daughters, get some shake a brick in the press and chef it like Mrs. Fields, they making a cookie stretch. I know it so well, I know the hustle so well, stunt like I'm working overnighters right by the hotel, drug money, outfit, record clean, and spent it all on me and my fucking team, matching Rovies for real, places they say they been, we actually going for real, I'm really killing shit, fuck all the jiggy rapping, I'm going trigger happy just to see my niggas happy. Best line. To wrap this up, is Drake's Take Care a classic? Drum rolls. I'm gonna say yeah. I think it is. I think Take Care is a classic just for what it did, the time that it came out in, what it meant for Drake's career. And in his discography, I think it's the one that after this and We Get Nothing was the same, I don't think Drake albums really sound like albums anymore. I think this is one of the few that was very cohesive. The sound was solid. The cover was solid. The cover is classic as well. Everything just fit. And he beat the sophomore slump and actually propelled himself into higherness, like the Take Cares, the Crew Loves. Yeah, I think it is classic. I think it is. The thing with classic albums, even though I said like all the songs that I didn't like or I won't go back to and listen to, you can have classic albums with records that all of them don't have to be perfect or hit. And I'm pretty sure the records I don't like, somebody else does enjoy. So I feel like Take Care is the one in Drake's discography that it's no debate. Like we can debate it, and that's what the show is for, but it's pretty written in the stars that it's classic. So now the bigger question is this his only classic? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments how you feel Take Care has held up a decade later. Let me know some of your favorite songs on here. Also, let me know some of the songs you don't really like on here. I know people rarely ask that. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If there's any more albums that you feel aren't classic or is kind of a head scratcher, drop it in the comments as well. Let's start to get this show rolling. Maybe we'll do some live ones and I could go on live with someone and we can actually do some live versions of these where you guys can chime in on it. So that's pretty much it. As always, I'm Tatum. Peace.